now I'm major, had to turn them tables. When you get into that paper, that shit too contagious. I might jump out with them hands and that shit get real dangerous. At the top, I pop my shit, ain't gotta watch my language.
Let's go bees. Let's go bees. Let's go bees. Let's go bees. I got, oh, hop on the car with no roof. I got, oh, hop on the car with no roof. Let's go bees. Let's go bees. Let's go bees. Let's go bees.
This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual purge sanctioned by the U.S. government. Weapons of class 4 and lower have been authorized for use during the purge. All other weapons are restricted, commencing at the siren. Any and all crime, including murder, will be legal for 12 continuous hours. Blessed be our new founding fathers and America, a nation reborn. May God be with you all.
And now here is the Cleveland native and undefeated fighter known as the Problem Child, Jake Paul.
Bitch, I'm from the till I die. Till I die. On the east side till I die. Till I die. Bumping out till I die. Till I die. Till I die. CLE till I die. I go putting on. Putting on, putting on. I go putting on. Putting on.
Four-year-old Jake Paul stepping into a boxing ring for his fourth professional fight in front of a sold-out crowd of 16,000 in his hometown of Cleveland. Al, who says the American dream is dead?
It's kind of surrealistic in many ways. Look, at this juncture, he wants to beat so far the best combat sports fighter that he has faced. He's never been past 2 rounds, remember. Only that limit in terms of creating knockouts. So we'll see how he does against Woodley.
Yeah, many, of course, consider him a circus act, but you know what? He has undeniable star power, has the ability to put butts in seats and sell pay-per-views, and he is taking the sport of boxing seriously.
Absolutely, and he's worked hard. I mentioned he's sparred with people like Jean Pascal, a world champion, and so he thinks he's doing the best he can to be the best boxer. Thinks he's doing the best he can to be the best boxer he can, and this is a process.
And he has legitimate power in that right hand, and oh yeah, so does Tyron Woodley. As we go to the tail of the tape for tonight's meme event.
As we take a look at these numbers, I think the big number is 39 for Tyron Woodley. We know, of course, he's lost a bunch of MMA matches in a row. How much is still there at age 39? I think that's a central question.
And the rules for the main event, no 3 knockdown rule in effect. Only the referee can stop the fight. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. If an accidental foul or headbutt causes a fight to end within 4 rounds, it's a no decision. After 4, they go to the scorecards for a technical decision. Welcome. Is Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse here in Cleveland, Ohio, we present the featured bout of the evening, brought to you by Most Valuable Promotions, along with Frank Warren and Queensberry Promotions, on Holden Productions and Showtime Pay-Per-View. Sponsored by Barstool Left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing silver trunks with turquoise and pink trim, hailing from and representing his home of St. Louis, Missouri. He rated at 189 and 1/2 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the popular media sensation, the acclaimed content creator and undefeated fighter known as the Problem Child.
With a right hand to the body of Woodley.
Woodley came out and threw an awkward right hand. He will try and get the overhand right in. He has to hope, and Paul would like to counter him when he does it. He has to hope Paul can't counter him.
Paul talks a Super Bowl-sized game. This is his own personal Super Bowl, and what an atmosphere here tonight, guys.
Yeah, it's astonishing that the energy in this building is pretty amazing.
Now, you mentioned that overhand right. He had a lot of success with that in MMA, but that's a sport when people are anticipating the takedown, it won't work as well in a boxing match, one presumes.
Very good point.
And there's a double jab through the guard by the bigger Paul before going downstairs with the right.
And Woodley told us, you know, he didn't use the jab that much in MMA, but he's worked on it very hard. He's hoping he can use it in this fight. So far, he hasn't.
Woodley has to be careful standing straight up.
And the big knock on Woodley has been over the last 4 fights, stuck in neutral. Can he feel comfortable out of his comfort zone in this new sport? He has lost 16 straight rounds. We want to see some aggression out of him.
Good combination by Paul. Many, Ariel, questioned Woodley's will to continue to fight. It felt like the fire was gone. Maybe this will reignite it. Or he could get lit up and blown out by Jake Paul. He's definitely measured here in the open.
Use the jab to get inside. Haven't seen that yet. Can't throw the off-balance right hand.
Going to the body with a couple of right hands, but
does need to land a big right hand, so he's got to
early on for the chance to use it. He threw one jab and landed the one jab in the opening round, Al, so definitely has to work on that.
Well, he was 100% anyway.
The bell in round 2, you know, Jake Paul says
using all of this ring, using the jab, and putting some combinations together
because he takes this more seriously, he feels, than a lot of pro boxers. Which, again, Jake Paul, as he lands a right hand, but you have to admit, Al, he can market himself a lot better than a lot of pro fighters.
Better than almost anybody. Forget pro boxers. The range, that's another thing he's done, using the jab, and of course his big punches, the right hand, that's created most of the 7 knockdowns he's had in his 3 fights.
2016 who was pushing the pace.
Use the jab to get inside. Haven't seen that yet. Can't throw the off-balance right hands to be countered.
Paul and Woodley began.
He does need to land a big right hand, so he's got to get the chance to do that.
He threw one jab and landed the one jab in the opening round, Al, so definitely has to work on that.
Well, he was 100% anyway. Punching from range.
The bell in round 2, you know, Jake Paul said his goal is to earn people's respect and show people how hard he is working because he takes this more seriously, he feels, than a lot of pro boxers. Which, again, Jake Paul, as he lands the right hand. Big size difference between Paul and Woodley. Woodley with the jab, Ariel. You have to admit, Al, he can market.
You would think the longer this fight goes, it would favor Woodley. He's fought 25-minute fights. Paul has never gone past the second round. BJ Flores, head trainer for Jake Paul, told me he's giving Woodley a pass for the lack of activity in the first round. We want to beat him because we think he's going to get tired early.
Yeah, they think that the
First round is the way, but now this is going to be a very telling round. Is it the old Woodley or is it the one in 2000? Some MMA fighters as well. Mike Perry, he's sparring.
Yeah, very good point.
A minute left here in the second round. Still very much a feeling out process, although Jake Paul has landed some combinations. Tyron Woodley surveying the landscape and gets
doing what he needs to do to win these rounds. You temper that with the fact that he hasn't yet fought a pro boxer, but you have to look at it and take it as Woodley just can't get that offensively.
Meanwhile, Woodley from the Shelby State of Missouri looking to show and show out.
It's kind of out of control, so you can
Trying to get on track here. Difference between 20 seconds left in the second.
Paul probably weighing 200 pounds right now. It's a very noticeable
Woodley with the jab early.
And you would think
for that. With the fact that he hasn't yet fought a pro boxer, but you have to look at it and take it at face value because he can throw good combinations.
Meanwhile, Woodley from the Shelby State of Missouri looking to show up and show out, but trying to get on track here. Less than 20 seconds left in the second.
Also, when you're stabbing, moving back, touch off that back leg. We haven't got that jab. Go to him, punch him. You understand? Let your hands go, son. This is your night. Own your stuff. Hey, let's go. Look. Get the momentum. Let's take the momentum, okay? We need the momentum. Do it. Do that shit.
Yes, it'll happen if this fight continues to go rounds.
And yes, Woodley's been on the biggest stages as a MMA champion, but at 39, pro boxing debut, hot in under these circumstances, a lot of nervous energy coursing through his veins.
Yeah, very good point.
The numbers with the advantage.
I don't know about you guys. I'm happy this fight is going longer. I wanted to see more out of Jake. Hopefully, regardless of what happens, he's getting...
Last moment of action, and there is Jake Paul's mom. Shakes it off. You just want to be together. Jake's mom very tense.
Early on in that round, here's Paul. He's going to try an uppercut from way back. And it almost got there. Did get the left hand, and that's one thing you really don't want to do continues to go round. But he was able to do it against Woodley. Now at the end of the round,
Woodley's been on the biggest stages
right hand
as
may
a
or may not have
MMA
landed
champion
for Woodley.
At 39, pro boxing debut, hot in under these
and it was delivered well.
circumstances. A lot of nervous energy coursing through his veins.
And we'll catch up with him. Hey, a Jumanji reference. Now my night is complete.
So guys, this is fascinating theater now. We've never seen Jake in this situation before, right? We're going to find out if he truly is a fighter. Fighting in the 4th round, what's going on in his mind? I'd love to know.
And you know, a straight right hand lands, and he's now emboldened to throw right hands, Woodley. But will he be countered in doing it?
And it looks like Paul is now biting down on his gum shield, and all of a sudden it is down to business after Woodley pushed him in the end of the last round.
Okay, good break. Woodley roughing him up on the inside, which is exactly what he wants to do, right?
Don't hit on that break.
On in that round.
Lack of
Here's
activity
Paul.
or not,
He's
this
going to
isn't Nate
try an
Robinson,
uppercut
this isn't
from
Eddie
way
Sungin, this isn't
back.
Ben Askren coming up with hip replacement surgery. It's going to take a lot to finish Tyron Woodley.
And it almost got there. Did get the left hand, and that's one thing you really don't want to do against an experienced boxer. But he was able to do it against Woodley. Now at the end of the round, let's see how well this right hand may or may not have landed for Woodley. Well, guess what? How does he do it exactly? And we don't know him as a boxer. How does he do that exactly? He did land a good straight right hand, but it'll take a little more than that.
Right hand to the body by Paul. Moving to his left, circling away from Woodley, but right into his power alley, the right hand. And there's an exchange on the inside. Minute and a half left in the 4th.
The fascinating part is that Woodley is walking him down. He just hasn't been able to really do anything offensively, but that may come.
Touched him at the end of the last round.
I don't know how you feel, Al. I disagree with Jake's team. The longer this goes, I think it will favor Woodley. We're going to start to see him look a little better. I think Jake is getting a little tired.
Well, He seems to be a little bit, yeah. We'll see how that goes. I think they were basing it on the
It's going to take a lot to finish Tyron Woodley.
This juncture, he's
Gets rocked by Woodley.
He held on to the rope.
And he held on, and now Woodley beginning to feel himself. There's a jab by Woodley. Minute gone in the fourth, and
with the big crowd.
again, Jake Paul in his hometown.
Paul
Let's see him get knocked out as cheering for him to win.
Exactly, and we don't know what's about this.
Woodley walking Paul down, and then Paul with the right hand. Woodley slips, but he got tagged with the right.
He's having it. The plot is thick.
Yeah, high drama indeed as the seconds continue to tick away here in round 4 as we head to the second half of this 8-rounder. So Paul facing his first taste of adversity.
I need your left hand up, Jay. Left hand
Well,
up,
Morrow
okay?
said it best. It is the first true adversity Jake Paul has faced in an actual boxing match. And it came courtesy of this left hook by Woodley. Who knew he had a left hook? He does have one. And it was a very well-thrown left hook. And then later in the round, using the jab, how about that? As a feint, and then the right hand kind of gets in on the side of the head. And he followed up with a couple punches, even though they didn't get there. So, roughing up Jake Paul a little bit, and what appeared to be a fatigued Jake Paul at that point, and that right hand bouncing off the side of the head and pushing him against the ropes. Could you call that a knockdown? I don't know.
Definitely knocked him off balance, and Jake Paul's body positioning couldn't make his corner feel good as round the second half of this.
One thing, that's probably the first round that Jake Paul has lost.
8-rounder. This crowd in fuego here as we begin the 5th. Paul looking to bounce back. Double jab lands.
Yeah.
There's a right uppercut by Woodley.
Oh, wow. And a hook. Jake Paul needs to land something of boxing match. And it came courtesy of this left hook by Woodley.
Yes, he is.
Who knew he had a left hook?
He's hunting him down. Look at that look on his face.
He
He's been
does
here
have
before.
one.
Jake Paul has
And
never been
it was
here
a very
before.
well-thrown left hook. And then later in the round, using the jab, how about that? As a feint, and then the right hand kind of gets in on the side of the head. And he followed up with a couple punches, even though they didn't get there. So, roughing up Jake Paul a little bit, and what appeared to be a fatigued Jake Paul at that point. And that right hand bouncing off the side of the head and pushing him against the ropes. Could you call that a knockdown? I don't know. Something that would be internet breaking.
Knocked him off.
We'll see if he is.
There's a straight right hand that scores for Woodley. Hands are low. Now back up to a boxing guard.
Jake Paul is lost.
Still open. This crowd in fuego here. Speaks volumes, guys.
I have not seen this look on Woodley's face since September of 2018 when he beat Darren Till in Dallas. The confidence is growing. Look at that guy right now. He's starting to believe that he can actually do it. And we haven't seen that for the last 4 fights.
Now, he has not been active in this round, that active in terms of only throwing 12 punches, so he's going to need to be a little more active and land something.
Oh, and that left landed for Paul. The crowd eating up.
Counter punching is going to need to come into the play.
They anticipate a major explosion coming. Both Paul and Woodley waiting for the other to make the first move.
And, you know, Woodley not too anxious to engage right now. He's been in with a couple of counter punches, and I think he's trying to be a little bit cautious.
Wild right delivered by Paul. Uncharted territory for Jake Paul. And Tyron Woodley in his pro boxing debut giving Jake Paul Jake Paul's fight of his which speaks volumes in career.
When Woodley jabs, it's a good jab. It's an underused punch for him.
And as noted, trainer Stephen Breadman had Edwards says the jab finds rhythms and breaks rhythms. Oh.
What a crowd.
What an atmosphere here in Cleveland.
No close rounds. You gotta hear me, man.
Looking for the other to make the first move.
You know, Woodley not too anxious to engage right. Well, Tyron Woodley had his moments in that last round as well. And I think he's got a nice uppercut on the inside. And later on in the round, and there you see him trying with the left hook, using the straight right hand that gets home. And that's where a more experienced boxer would have followed up with the left hook. Woodley not at that point yet. And then here's where he and Jake Paul had kind of a moment with each other. And Jake Paul, I'm not sure what that was, but
Shades of BJ Penn when he licked his gloves back in the day, but there was blood on him back then.
Round 6. Jake Paul looking to go 4-0 as a pro boxer. Tyron Woodley looking to knock Paul off in his pro boxing debut.
Step back. And you know, round 4, in my mind, round 5, a pivotal round in this fight because, and we'll get more from Steve Farley.
Yeah, let's bring in our unofficial scorer.
Mo, I agree, and Al, I agree that round 5 was the first really close round. I gave it to Paul. I wouldn't argue going the other way. As a result, I have Paul.
In my mind, round 5, a pivotal round in this fight because, and we'll get more from Steve Farley.
Yeah, let's bring in our unofficial scorer.
Paul's only thrown 21, so it's not as if either man has been super busy.
Listen, this is what I need you to do this round.
We got 6 minutes left. I need everything you got, but smart. Everything, don't hold back. You don't want to get back there and be like, damn, I could have did more. You don't want, it's 6 minutes. You know how fast 6 minutes go? You want some dog shape. Let that shit go. Every time you touch him, you're scared. No, you didn't go first. I just need you to listen to me. You got to trust me. Everything's going to work out. Just go first. Use your face, move your head.
One thing's for sure, Woodley would love to be Jake Paul's kryptonite tonight as we get set for round number 7.
You heard Gerald Tucker say, move your head to Tyron Woodley. That's often been a critique of MMA fighters. They don't move their head enough.
Yeah, they don't move off that center line, and now Woodley rushing Paul into the corner.
I got you. Hey, listen,
Time
stop with
ticking
that
away.
head when you're inside.
And they want to express the urgency to Woodley that he needs to land something big, and he's got to get in there and throw punches.
Yeah, Tucker doing his best Angelo Dundee impression there.
Yes. He was jabbing his way, and he's showing a decent jab. It would put him in position to throw some of those power punches. And I wouldn't even suggest it, except we've seen he can do it.
It's never been a punch he threw in MMA, but to your point, there's something there. He just needs to throw it more.
Exactly, and he understood that. Paul's punches are certainly wider now than...
Oh, and he got caught with that left hand by Woodley.
And the wider they get, the more Woodley could take advantage of that.
Woodley staying composed in the center of the ring. Granted, we'd love to see an uptick in offense as they exchange. Paul's circling away, and Paul takes another deep breath on his back foot.
Well, this is one of the few rounds in which Woodley already has thrown more punches than Paul, so he has been a little more active.
And just past the midway point of the 7th. It was billed as Jake Paul's toughest test, and it is proving to be just that with 1:10 left in the 7th round. Just over 4 minutes total left in this fight.
Al, has Jake shown you anything that has surprised you from his last fight? You were there ringside. Anything new?
Well, No, I mean, I think he's showing some resilience in being able to go this distance right now. As the fight goes on, his technique becomes just a little bit
There's a
less.
left hand that went through the guard for Paul. Neither fighter able to put together sustained attack or combinations as again they clinch.
Don't punch.
And that will eat up precious seconds from the clock.
Which does not help Woodley.
Woodley could steal this round. They are close.
There's a right hand by Paul, and Woodley nailed him with the left.
And that right hand would have been a little more powerful had he not thrown it off his back foot.
3 minutes left.
You're the boss out there. You're the boss. We're doing everything. 6 rounds to 1. Shut up, baby. Let's go. I need you to fight that one more round, all right?
He knows he needs a knockout to win. Be smart.
He's going to come out the first 30 seconds hard, all right? Hands up, bouncing, hands up. One more round and we got this shit, all right?
Be smart.
You landed some good right hands. Listen, bring your feet up a little more. And I need
Early
some
on in that last round, Woodley did have this good moment, landing that kind of short left hook, a leadoff left hook. Later on, though, it was Paul who I thought was effective in the latter part of the round and may well have been enough to win him the round. Landing this overhand right, and that was a good overhand right by Paul. And he's gotten some good right hands in.
8th and final round. They didn't touch gloves in the beginning. They just touch gloves now to kick off the 8th and final round. And this crowd, en fuego.
And they did warn Paul. They said he's going to be needing a knockout, so you're going to have to be careful.
And Woodley is seeking that right now with the jab. Setting it up, but not utilizing the jab. And they're both just throwing haymakers wildly.
Woodley has to throw everything at him. He has to know that he needs a finish to win this fight.
Don't sweat the technique, right?
And of course, we feel that way. So does Steve Farwood. Our unofficial scoring. Judges may be seeing it differently, but it would be hard to imagine.
It is
Would it? Would it? No, maybe it wouldn't. Given what we've seen this year.
Overhand right there. Paul throwing from out of range, backing up. And Tyron Woodley right in front of him. Woodley looking to deliver a punch, but it gets smothered as they get close like Starsky and Hutch again. A minute 42 left.
Very smart by Paul to kind of, every time he does that, he takes some seconds off the clock.
Jab lands for Paul. And really every single punch becomes that much more valuable as the time continues to tick away. And Paul, another deep breath. Coming forward with the double jab. Woodley stays out of range, but Woodley needs to ratchet up his offense.
Paul said, he actually said, I am looking past Tyron Woodley. Well, leading up to this, obviously you can't, because Woodley has given him a very good effort, even if Paul is winning this fight, which he probably is.
Woodley said he grew up in environments and circumstances.
I'm sure he's going to be disappointed if he doesn't get the W here, but I think he represented himself and the MMA community considering this.
Bro, it's rigged. It's officially rigged, bro.
State of his career right now, 39 and everything involved. I don't think he has anything to be ashamed of, but yes, it looks like Jake Paul.
And for Jake Paul, out, regardless of the outcome. Where does he go from here?
As we look at the journey, as we look at the numbers, there are some good things for him. He landed 41% of his power punches. He did land more punches. And what he showed, I think, was, look, in rounds 4 and 5, he looked like he was a little gassed, right? He did show the resilience in those later rounds to come back and perform well enough to very likely get this decision. And so that's impressive. Now, let's think about this. So we saw Tommy Fury earlier in a 4-round fight. What would he, and he's never been past 4 rounds. If he's the next opponent for Paul, what happens in rounds 5, 6, 7 if they get there? That's looking a long way off. But
Well, those were the questions we were asking about him going into tonight, and I think hopefully we can finally put an end to the debate if he's a fighter. I think he proved tonight, Jake Paul did, that this man is a fighter. He's stepping those ropes.
If anything, it was a work of heart by Jake Paul because he had to display that aspect.
I like that. Let's take a look at this fight in microcosm as we go inside the ropes and take a look at what transpired. And
real question is Jimmy Lennon
Paul
Jr.
early in the fight was good with some counterpunching and landing
Ladies
this
and
left hand,
gentlemen,
but we started to get
we
glimpses
have a
as Woodley
split
landed a couple
decision.
power
Here
punches.
the
The left
score
hook, the
totals.
right hand. There
Judges
was a
ringside,
point there,
Jaime got a
especially in
US
round
score of
4, where
77,
Woodley,
75
and this could easily
in
have been
favor
called a
of
knockdown
Jake
because he
Paul.
knocked Paul against
Judges
the ropes and the
ringside,
ropes kept them up. It
Phil
wasn't
Rogers
called
scores
that. That could have had some difference in the scoring. But as Woodley kept walking Jake Paul down, he did get some things done offensively. But Woodley boxed, or Jake Paul boxed effectively. And remember that overhand right that he threw a rounder to go. That was one of the better punches for Jake Paul. So
the question I have is who's going to get the tattoo out? Remember the bet they made. And there's a tattoo artist in attendance.
There is, and that tattoo artist will be sent to one of the dressing rooms.
He
You
didn't
did
get
come
the
up with the
knockout,
central
but
question.
Jake Paul in front of his. And you know who has the answer to the real question? It's Jimmy Lennon Jr. His hometown gets another win and continues this most unlikely boxing journey out.
Yeah, and it provided some twists. He had to go the distance. He faced the wall when it looked like he was going to be so tired. Could he continue? He did. It wasn't a brilliant effort, but it was a good effort, and it was enough to get him to win.
And to the victor go the spoils.
Exactly, yes.
And judge at ringside, Dana
Tyron Woodley
78 to 74.
Goes the 8-round distance in his professional boxing debut, showing some love to Jake Paul's family.
And still undefeated.
He didn't embarrass himself, Al, but this is what speaks volumes.
The mom's gonna hug him.
It's rigged. It's rigged. It's rigged. It's fucking rigged. It's rigged.
And you know, the interesting thing about this is, for Woodley, though it wasn't a winning effort,
stances that are way more scarier than a fight. He says fighting doesn't give him anxiety. His fear comes from underachieving and not doing his best, Ariel.
And guys, we may be looking at the final 40 seconds of Tyron Woodley's career. His legacy potentially on the line here. Let's see what he has left in him. 35 left. Regardless, I think he has represented himself very well.
yeah, he hung in there and landed some good shots.
Just landed a right hand.
And Woodley might be winning this last round. I doubt that it would be enough to win him the fight.
No.
Well, they're both winning when it comes to subjecting each other to capitalist punishment. That's for sure, as this fight will go to the judges.
I think Jake's mom thinks she won. I'm pretty sure.
Woodley's celebrating as well.
And I'm sure Mama Deborah's doing a little dance as well, right, Ariel? Well, we went 24 minutes for the first time in his burgeoning boxing career. Jake Paul forced to go the distance. This one, 8 rounds. And Ariel, you mentioned Tyron Woodley, and again, a guy whose fights I called over a decade.
What did he show?